Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the rumor with the Kardashians. I do not believe, and I know there's so many things there. Actually, the way things are going these days, maybe I could believe it. Is that O.J. Simpson is the father of Khloe Kardashian?
No.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glyn. Over there is Dax Holt. We are two people. I am a pollution survivor. Dax is a skin cancer survivor. It's really nice to be here to do celebrity entertainment news. Okay, no, dude, I always start so stupid. I don't know. Pollution survivor. I'm so dumb. That's what happens. Hey, Dax, at what age can you stop wearing backwards hats?
Like never. Right? Can't you be 90 and still sporting a backwards hat? Like, I feel like you just look cool.
I'm in a new neighborhood now, right? And I feel weird when I see people and I'm still wearing a backwards hat. But it's like, that's just what I do. And I don't want them to think that I'm trying so hard. I'm like, guys, I've been wearing this forever.
You know what,
this is what I do.
I don't feel like backwards hats have gone out of style, ever. Like, think about it. There's so many other things that come in and out of style. And you're like, oh, you can't wear this or wear that. Has backward hat? I don't think that's gone out of style.
I don't think so, and I hope they don't. But and this is how I get. Dax, do you drink soda?
Like soda water or like
soda?
What is your definition of soda?
Well, I'm drinking ginger ale right now, which is usually an airport soda.
See, that ginger ale is only on flights for me. Mm-hmm. I don't drink that on just a typical daily basis. I like soda water. Like we have one of those. What is it, like an Airstream or what the hell is it called? Soda Stream. And so I'll sodaize my water, but that's about it.
Lately, I've been craving ginger ale at the end of the night, and we're recording this at night right now. But I don't know. We are an entertainment news podcast. Why we're talking about backwards hats, and I just wanted to vent to Dax real quick. We're catching up. We haven't spoke all weekend. It is we just got past Memorial Day weekend. Catching up on everything that's going on in entertainment news. On Fridays, we do a Raw rundown. In the middle of the week, Dax and I sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we kind of BS with each other. Today, I wanted to ask, we were trying to think of what to talk about this week. And one of the things was rumors. We've heard rumors for years. Being an entertainment news journalist, you have to kind of figure out the difference between rumors and a true story.
Well, I mean,
you don't want to do stories on rumors because they're just rumors. And I get it. People like blind items. However, it's hard to we allow the Dumois and all those people to cover them because if you're in actual trust me, there's a lot of blind items that wind up being true. Just for legal reasons, you don't see major publications really covering them because they could get sued. Am I right, Dax?
You are totally right. But I would also say, being in this line of work for so long, the amount of times people come up to be like, is it true? Hey, Dax, do you know if, I heard this rumor of so-and-so, is it true? And I mean, even the crazy dumb shit, like the, Richard Gere with the gerbil up his butt. How many times has someone asked you if that rumor is true, Adam?
Well, they asked me first if I had one, and then they said, well, I heard Richard Gerbil has had one. And then Richard Gere's had one. And Richard Gere. So we're gonna get into that actually because I remember hearing this story about Richard Gere and the gerbil, and it's kind of a crazy story. Before we get to that, we read reviews. We read them every night before we go to sleep. We read them when we wake up. We love reviews. Dax has some really good ones framed in his office at Trophy Smack. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
I do, and can I just put out a little disclaimer that I just finished up my son's 9th birthday, and I'm about 7 high noons deep. So I am trying to keep this together, but we're going to go with it, all right?
Oh, I didn't know. Good for you, Dax. I got to catch up then. All right. Let me just do a little... Where's my syringes so I can catch up to Dax?
It's funny. I'm normally on like a beer kick, but for some reason I've been to high noons lately. They're so good. I don't know.
They're good. You
and
don't
they're
feel
not even
gross
sponsoring
after?
us. If they were sponsoring us, it'd be so much better. But they're not. But they're delicious. I don't know.
You know what? They're good. They're light. You don't feel bloated after. They just go down very
We
easy.
need to stop talking. This is too much commercially, and they're not paying us enough to say all this great stuff about them. All
I
right.
get it.
I'm going on to the review. This one comes from Ashley Webb, 5 stars. Love this podcast. So it said the old review. So we have an old review and then an updated review from Ashley Webb. The old review said, heard you on Juicy Scoop and decided to give your podcast a listen. I'm subscribed now and excited to listen to older episodes as well. Loving it. Here is the new review. I wondered why last time I didn't hear my 5-star review. Maybe because I never hit send below. Love this podcast. It's a must listen every week. Well, there you go, Ashley. We read your old review, we read your new review, and we read all 5 stars. So you made the podcast. So thank you for taking a listen and leaving that review. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashley Webb. And if you guys want to leave a review, just go to the podcast app on Apple. If you have an Apple or wherever you listen to your podcasts, for example, the Apple Podcast icon, you put in Hollywood Raw, you go away to the bottom, you put in 5 stars, say a few kind words. We'll actually read your review live on air. Occasionally, we do contests for people who leave reviews. It's the best thing to do to support this podcast. Now, on to rumors, Dax.
By the way, we pulled through. For the people that don't know, we did send our 1,000th review videos to the 2 ladies that we couldn't tell who actually got the 1,000th review. We did send those videos, so we do pull through. I promise.
We do. On to these rumors I want to talk about. Dax, you mentioned the Richard Gere thing. Yep. I heard about this, and some people who listen to this podcast might be familiar with it. Some people may not. Richard Gere, Richard Gere is a random actor. He's one of those guys where you sort of know, but you haven't known what. I say this. Could you name a project Richard Gere done in the last 15 years?
No.
No, you can't.
Everyone just thinks Pretty Woman immediately is what I feel like. But I don't think it's necessarily the gerbil rumor that I want to talk about, because that I feel like everyone's heard for ages, right? Like everyone's been told that Richard Gere had to go to the hospital or the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai because he literally had a gerbil up his butt, and how he got the gerbil up there is the big question. How you would and I'm being told that like you'd have to have the gerbil like in a bag or something. Because think about it, like that thing can't like just run around inside. Like, so you'd have to, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into it. It's so weird, the whole thing. But that was the big rumor. What I didn't know was that there was a secondary rumor on top of the rumor that it was Sylvester Stallone who started the rumor about Richard Gere having a gerbil.
How does that start? No, I did not know that. Tell me about this.
No, this has been, and apparently this has been going on for a very long time. I dove deep into the Richard Gere annals of rumors, and it was apparently this whole thing that him and Sylvester were doing a movie together, and were not getting along at all, and that they were just kind of clashing. That it seemed like nothing they could do could like get these two guys to like each other, to the point where I guess Richard got like kicked off the movie, because I think at that time, even though Richard Gere was still a massive movie star, he wasn't Sylvester Stallone movie star, right? And then once he got kicked off the movie, it was told that Sylvester started this rumor about him. Whether that is true, that is hard to say. But there was a lot of things at the time where there were nurses saying that they saw Richard Gere in the hospital at that time. There were other people saying that they knew people that said that, there was a nurse on call that night, and Richard came in and he had to have a gerbil up his butt. Do I think it's true? No chance. There's no way. I think this is a fun, entertaining rumor, but do I think it's true? No.
This is one of like the OG rumors that I first heard about in the entertainment news world, or in the Hollywood world. Actually, I'm going to mention another one, but I'll go into my first rumor that I heard in the rumor world when I started to get into celebrity news. But when I heard the Richard Gere one, obviously the hamster in the butt kind of, it goes into the gay community.
A gerbil,
The
not a
gerbil,
hamster. A gerbil. Get your little furry animals right, Adam.
Ugh, I mean, it goes into people saying there's like a gay pass. It goes into the gerbil gay community. That's what gay guys would do.
I'm sorry. Gay people aren't putting gerbils up their butt either. This is just a weird...
Is that a gay rumor too?
There's no way people are putting gerbils up their butts. I mean, and listen, I love myself a good podcast. One of my favorite podcasts is honestly about nurses from the ER and how, and there's a whole episode about things they found up people's butts. And it is one of the greatest episodes because that to me is hilarious. Like, give me up the butt stories all the time because they were finding, this one nurse was like, the craziest thing I found was a 3-wicked candle. So think how big that has to be a 3-wicked candle to fit up there. She was like, oh my God.
Well, speaking of gross stories, the first rumor I ever heard of, and I remember when I heard it, it was in 1997, I believe it was, and it was Marilyn Manson. And the rumor was, there was 2 rumors about Marilyn Manson. And again, people listening at home thought, A, that Marilyn Manson was Paul Pfeiffer from Wonder Years. Remember the fight, the nerdy guy from Wonder Years?
That rumor lasted a very long time. They look similar, so it makes sense, right?
Well, the thing is, too, this rumor came out before, like, the internet really kind of took off. So you couldn't really Google people's backgrounds. So you had to believe, like, man, this could potentially be true because you didn't know what was going on. You didn't know what this guy's deal was. So,
but we knew that Josh Saviano played Paul, right? Like, people knew that.
Yeah, but you didn't know much about Marilyn Manson's
real name.
No, but you didn't know what was going on.
His real name.
At this time, there's no Wikipedia. And the guy who plays Marilyn Manson, the guy who plays Paul Pfeiffer, the guy who plays Paul Pfeiffer from the Wonder Years, he is now like a real attorney. He's like out of show business. He works in New York City. He's got a real job. Like he's just a working guy. The other rumor with Marilyn Manson was that he took out his. Do you remember the ribs one? Did you ever hear that?
Took out a rib so he could
perform oral on himself. And I didn't know if that was just an East Coast or like a middle school rumor that we kind of did. And the rumor was, again, that Marilyn Manson took out his ribs so he could perform on himself. And that was like, whoa, this guy is really the Antichrist.
What I think is that Marilyn knew shock value, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started these rumors himself and didn't squash them because, listen, for him, he was shocking. He loved all of this, like people talking about him, the shock value of it. So for me, I'm like, I blame all of this on Marilyn. For sure, he was the one, perpetuating all of these rumors. What I loved was that even Fred Savage got to the point where he got involved with it. He said he actually met Marilyn Manson once, and Marilyn came up to him and goes, so, we worked together, right? Like, following into the whole thing, which I love. And so I think Marilyn is one of those people that, if there was a rumor about him and a gerbil up his butt, he would have 100% leaned into it. He probably leaned into the rib stuff, leaned into the Paul Pfeiffer stuff. Like, that to me is good press.
Yeah. The thing about rumors too is that sometimes they're true. For example, we heard things for years about Harvey Weinstein being a scumbag, doing some crazy things, and those rumors wound up being true. You heard rumors about P. Diddy for years, and they wound up being true. But again, it's a very kind of, we're like, oh yes, when they are true. But sometimes, how many times people come up to me and ask me about Tom Cruise being gay? Oh yeah, Tom Cruise or John Travolta being gay. Now I've never seen anything in my own eyes, nor do I have a trusted source to say that.
Here's a question. You've seen photos of John Travolta kissing his pilot.
Yeah, but that was like weird. It could have been the photo, the angle. I don't know.
What do you mean? No, they were fully locking lips. Whether that means he's gay or not, I don't know if that means he's gay, but he definitely was kissing his pilot.
Dax, you believe that? Let me ask. When you think of John Travolta, what do you think about the rumors on him?
The only thing that fascinated me for years was his hairline. That was the one thing. I could give two Fs whether the guy is gay or straight. I don't care. I really don't care. What I thought was always so weird was how he didn't just embrace his baldness for so long. And this is, I mean, we've kind of gotten used to him being bald at this point because it's been years that he finally took off the toupees. But I was so fascinated because he would walk a red carpet and have this amazing hair. And then 2 days later, I would see him in Mexico by the beach, and he would have no hair, full receding hairline, like almost bald. And then 5 days later, he's back on a red carpet, beautiful hair again. And I'm like, why does this guy do this? Like, just take off the wig, shave your head, like live you. And I mean, the amount of wigs that John Travolta must own is probably unbelievable, because not only that, they're good quality, they look realistic. He did it for a really long time. So that again, didn't care about his sexuality. All I cared about was his hairline.
I only saw the one photo with John Travolta. I know what photo you're talking about. It's him like boarding on a plane, and the guy goes in, and it's a weird photo. So I don't know and listen, if he is, he isn't. There's no shame. I don't care. And John Travolta, from my experiences, one of the nicest celebrities. I wouldn't say the nicest, but like he was very nice every time I've met him. He was super kind, very nice. And
you know what I would say about
all
that?
Scientologists are. Yeah,
Scientologists, a lot of them are very nice. I would say if he really was and felt that he needed to hide it for that long, I think it would be sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, to have to hide your sexuality because you're afraid it's going to ruin your career or ruin whatever, that to me would make me sad that he felt that the need to fake a persona for so many years.
Hey, Dax, I want to ask you, the rumor about Kris Jenner and her involvement with Kim's success. Now, we know that Kris managed...
like sex tape stuff?
The sex tape. The rumor was that Kris Jenner had something to do with the sex tape, and she kind of was the orchestrator pushing that out, and she knew what Kim wanted to. And what are your thoughts on that rumor, and how did that start? Is there any truth to that rumor?
Yeah. I would say 100% there. So I can tell you this, with all my years working in clips and clearance and working in this industry and all the shrewd moves that were made. I mean, we knew she took the playbook straight from Paris Hilton, and that playbook was sex tape, get your name out there, and then capitalize on everything that comes after it. So, Kim knew what to do. So do I think that she had a hand in it? 100%. Do I blame her? No, because she wanted fame more than anyone else on this planet, and she got it, right? Like, she worked for it. When it comes to the sex tape, I think that, yes, her mom was involved, and the only reason I think her mom was involved was because Ray J had said numerous times that this was a deal that was made between him, Kris Jenner, and Kim. And I don't picture Ray J being someone to lie, because I think he kept his mouth closed for so many years that he doesn't have anything to profit off it at this point. But what it sounds like that happened was that she had this idea. She presented it to Ray J and her mom, kind of laughed it off. Next thing you know, they're going to Vivid Entertainment, and they are selling it, and she's playing it off for many years after that of, oh, I didn't hand this over to them. They somehow got their hands on it. And then when it really came to a front was when they incorporated it into their reality show. You remember this? When Kanye had to go get the last remaining footage from Ray J and buy it off of him and threaten him and all of this stuff. And Ray J was like, the hell are you talking about? This has never been the situation. I didn't leak this video. There was never a leak. This was a sale. This was a sign off. Remember, we even had on Kevin Blatt, who confirmed this for us, but you cannot release a tape like that without the sign offs of Kim and Ray J, who is their likeness, their image. You're selling off all of that. They had to sign that off. People don't understand. They had to. There cannot be a leaked tape that is put on Vivid, that is put out to the general public because if they would have sued, it would have been pulled off the market immediately. So, and even though Kim sued and then settled, I think it was a ceremonial suing to make her look good. But whatever, just like lean into it, own it, say you sold it off, it helped you get famous, move along with life.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably part of the strategy of the lawsuit regarding it. But, Kim obviously was involved in this, but you didn't know if Kris was sort of behind it as well.
I think I believe Ray J. I think if Ray J is saying this was a deal that I did with Kris, Kim, and myself and Vivid, then, Kris is the ultimate puppet master in that family. She's savvy and smart, and I would not put it past her.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the rumor with the Kardashians. I do not believe, and I know there's so many things there. Actually, the way things are going these days, maybe I could believe it. Is that O.J. Simpson is the father of Khloe Kardashian?
No. Why? And I don't. Why did that rumor start up? Like, I think this was a fun rumor that people latched onto, but there's no truth. I think it really became a rumor because if you remember Robert Kardashian, after him and Kris separated, he got married again. I don't remember that lady's name, but he got married to another wife, and after his death, she was the one that started this rumor, saying that Khloe's that he had told her that he wasn't Khloe's dad. So that's originally what started the rumor mills, which is kind of an effed up thing to do. Your husband had died, and now you're like dropping this bomb on the family after he's gone. But the new wife had basically said Khloe's dad is not Robert, and so now everyone's starting to find something. And do I think she looks like OJ? No. No. And Khloe, and remember, they made this into a whole storyline even on their reality show where they went to go do like a paternity test. And Khloe's like, I don't care, guys. Like, literally, I don't care. Robert's my dad. Caitlyn's my other dad. And that's all that matters to me. I've got two amazing dads in my life. End of story.
But part of it is like, that's the fun of Hollywood. It's the allure to have people talking about it. I mean, honestly, if Khloe cared that much, she could go on and say, especially when OJ passed away, hey, I'm sorry, but that was not, I have no relation to him, and put it out. However, it keeps people guessing, it keeps people talking, and they just don't care. They don't care because it's simple PR. So it's interesting how they care. Was there any rumors, Dax, when you were working at TMZ, that basically you kept hearing about? Like I mentioned, the Harvey Weinstein. But was there any rumors that you were here for a while that eventually came to the public and then wound up being true?
It's a good question. I wish you would have asked me before we started taping, so I'd have a hot second to think about it, Adam.
I figured if I asked you if you drink any, you'd say one that you not,
I will have to think about that. Dang, because I mean, listen, there was, I guess, talking Caitlyn Jenner, there was the rumor that Star Magazine or the Inquirer had put out years ago saying Bruce Jenner had a closet full of dresses. That's probably the one that sticks in my mind the most. And this was when Bruce was just Bruce, manly man Bruce. And I was like, what? This is the biggest bullshit story rumor I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, I laughed about it. I think I posted about it on Twitter saying like this they've gone too far this time. And then flash forward to a year later and Bruce had become Caitlyn, and I had to eat my words and go, holy shit, that rumor was 100% true. Yeah. Which was so crazy to me.
That was crazy.
No way.
I think it was you heard so many rumors for so long. And then when you saw the first photo of Caitlyn leaving, I guess, a doctor's office, and there was, I think it might have been the Adam's apple that might have got shaved down. Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Yeah, and I remember like, whoa, this.
He had the bandage on his neck at that time.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa, this could be true. Like, this is eerie. And I think everyone knew, but no one could really do the story. Do you kind of know what was going on in the?
So it was the shaving, and then we started to see Bruce driving around wearing nail polish. Do you remember? That
Yes.
was when he would be driving around all through Malibu, and I'm saying him because it was him at the time. I'm not being disrespectful. He would be driving up and down Malibu and bright red nail polish, and his hair was starting to get longer. We were seeing like him golfing, and just the clothing he was wearing was a little more form-fitting than the things that he had worn in the past. That's when I was like, oh my God, this shit is true. Like,
Yeah.
this is absolutely true, which again blew my mind. So I think that was probably the biggest rumor that came out to be true that I did not believe at the beginning.
So Dax, there's also rumors about Mariah Carey. And Mariah Carey and
Mariah rumors.
So do you know the story with Mariah Carey?
Yeah,
Mottola?
dude. Yeah, don't you? So Mariah and Tommy Mottola, I mean, obviously very famously got married, very high profile relationship.
She was also very young. She was young. He was old. He was very powerful.
Yes. Obviously a big part of Sony. But one of the scandalous rumors that I remember was that when they broke up, he started to steal elements of music, and because he knew she wanted them, steal those elements and give them to J-Lo, who was up and coming in the entertainment industry. That was like Sony's next big star that they were going to be pumping a lot of time and money into was J-Lo. And this started kind of like that feud between J-Lo and Mariah for a while, because Mariah's like, what the hell? You're taking this insider information because my ex-husband is taking a liking to you and you're using it against me. And I remember it was, what was it? It was the song Loverboy. She had sampled Firecracker for by Yellow Magic Orchestra. However, a month before her song came out, Tommy and Jennifer Lopez sampled that same sound for I'm Real. And I'm Real went out right before Loverboy, and it like totally threw off Mariah's game. And she was pissed.
Oh yeah.
Pissed. And she was like, what the hell? She goes, you're going to use the stuff that I'm sampling from my song and give it to another female entertainment on the label, who, by the way, she didn't even know who Jennifer Lopez was at the time. But the funny part about the whole thing is that Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single in 2001. So even though she got screwed, Loverboy became a huge hit for her.
Yeah, that was, I mean, talk about inside baseball for Mariah to say that. She wrote about it in her book, but Tommy Mottola made Jennifer Lopez, made her into a star. I think it's just a very interesting thing to see how Hollywood works, how they can really choose someone.
It makes me wonder if Tommy and Mariah would have stayed together if Jennifer Lopez would have had that rocket launch to superstardom. Yes, the Selena movie was huge, but sometimes it's not just a movie that takes you off, it's music. And the fact that Tommy really liked Jennifer and he didn't have Mariah anymore to really fuel that energy into, that maybe it was just right time, right place for Jennifer Lopez for her to hit it out of the park because Tommy invested time in her.
Well, if Mariah stayed with Tommy Mottola, what could have Mariah have been? Now, obviously, Mariah
is already the biggest thing on the planet. Yeah.
No, she's huge. But if Mariah stayed with Tommy, how crazy could she have been? I mean, she could have been.
How do you get bigger than Mariah Carey, dude? She's one of the doesn't she have the most singles out of anyone or some crazy number like that?
She's big, but she never really. She did do some acting. I mean, what was it, Glitter and stuff? But Mariah, Tommy was told that's. There's a difference between royalty. There's music royalty and then being a star.
I think
which
you are out of your goddamn mind right
no,
now. You are forgetting how massive Mariah Carey has been throughout her
Dax.
career.
Well, listen to this: could Mariah Carey sell out MetLife
Yes.
Stadium?
Yes. What? Yes. What are you talking about?
I don't think so. I don't think Mariah Carey could
You
sell at
are
MetLife.
out of
She
your
could sell at
goddamn
Radio
mind.
City, but I don't know
No.
if she could sell at MetLife Stadium.
Yes, it's Mariah fucking Carey. What are you talking about?
She's become more of like a character to me because she's just so insane. But I mean, a lot of those divas are.
Yeah, but
Speaking of divas,
people like a diva. Is she entertaining? Yes. That
sh-
people like that entertainment part. Like, you may call someone a diva, but I think the general public likes to hear the antics, likes to hear the drama, the over the
craziness.
topness. But
I agree with
Mariah,
you
I
on
would
there.
say, listen, I'm not saying that I'm going to buy a ticket to her MetLife concert. It's not that. But I think Mariah has so many hits. She's so famous. She may not have had all those hits in the last 5-10 years, right? But that's like saying in 20 years from now, was Beyonce a big deal? Yeah, she's a fucking big deal. Was Taylor Swift a big deal? Yes.
Well, there's rumors
Mariah
always
was the biggest thing on the planet.
she was big, but I think, and you're right. That we all love divas. We love the characters of them. We love the insane stories about them. We love the weirdness of them. That's what makes them a diva. Speaking of divas, Beyonce. There was
Yeah.
a rumor about Beyonce that when she had a kid with Jay Z, that they basically spent like $1.3 million on renting the entire floor of a hospital so they could have complete privacy regarding the baby. So and then there's stories about the surrogate and yeah.
No, I remember this because I think we actually reported on this whole hospital thing at the time when this rumor was gaining a lot of steam. And if I remember correctly, TMZ might have been the one to kind of, I wouldn't say debunk the rumor, but clarify the rumor. I don't think you can rent out an entire floor of a hospital, right? It's a hospital, especially like a birthing level. Like, where are the other women going to go when they're having a baby? I think what it was they had a really nice executive suite at the hospital that cost a shit ton of money. I don't think it was $1.3 million, but it had a ridiculous price tag that came along with it. And I think that's where it got a little confusing is people are going, wait, so let's say they spent $500,000 on it and then, they're there for a day and a half. Okay, well now it's 1.3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's confusion in this story, but yes, they definitely got this really high-end suite at the hospital. But no, they didn't rent out the whole floor. You can't do that.
Yeah, but this rumor became so big, even the hospital had to address and say, yeah, they didn't do it. Like, we usually don't talk about this stuff, but this is not true.
Well,
You can't
Beyonce,
do that.
when does Beyonce talk rumors? Never. Ever. She never clarifies rumors, and even she called the rumors ridiculous and over the top. So, like, that tells you something that if Beyonce is like needs to put her foot down, that's when, the rumor's gone too far. But I also think at a certain point, if you really need that privacy, like, you could either have a midwife or after a home birth. You could have it at a private clinic. Like, there's other ways to have a baby so it's not so high profile, right?
Yeah, I have to imagine so. There's one rumor out there, Dax, that I almost think it's true because this person's such a character. And the rumor's on Leonardo DiCaprio. And the rumor is when Leonardo DiCaprio makes love or has sex, whatever you want to call it, he likes to vape and he puts on headphones. I want to believe that's true. I don't know if that's true, but I want to believe it's true. And I feel like it might have happened once after he was at a club one night. He was like, I'm really into this song. I'm feeling something. Do you mind if I do this? And I just want to believe that it's true, but it's just so insane. It's so wild. But the guy definitely gets down. The guy definitely parties. And when he parties with, like, it's funny. Somehow Leo, anytime he hangs out with someone, the women, I don't know if he makes them sign anything, but no one ever really makes them talk.
He's
like they never talk about him.
I am sure that he has them sign paperwork. There's no way at this point in his life he is. And I got to imagine for some of these huge stars that are hooking up, it has to be a very awkward experience when you met out at the bar and you're drinking and then you get back to the house and you're like, hey, so it's been a really fun night, but I'm going to need you to read through this 28-page document and then please sign on the dotted line and then we can continue where we left off. But that's, I think the reality of it is there's a reputations, there's money, there's a lot of things involved, and people get accused of a lot of stuff these days, and these people have to protect themselves.
So this obviously rumor came from ex-lovers have kind of said this about him, but it makes you wonder about Leonardo DiCaprio because yes, he is a longtime bachelor in Hollywood, has done very well with women, but you never hear any of them talking about him. So when you hear something like this and it doesn't say where it's from, you'll start to question, man, this guy must have partied one night. But again, in his group might be someone who handles the paperwork for him, a consent paper, or someone's there, let them know that A, they're not going to talk, B, they're there at their own consent, just to kind of protect him. But there was also stories about Derek Jeter, and Derek Jeter would also give the gift bags to women.
I want to keep talking about Leo, and then we'll get back to Derek. Because this rumor, and I can tell you why I think this rumor is true. The whole vaping thing. Have you in the last 15 years seen paparazzi photos, or have you seen him on the street where he doesn't have a vape in his hand?
He's always got, yes.
He always has a vape in his hand. Like, it is well known, well documented. There's been a lot of the like big companies have come out that are trying to like promote like not smoking. That'll like rip him, over the coals. But if you remember when he was filming Wolf of Wall Street, Margot Robbie had this really funny story how when they were filming their sex scene, he had to have the vape on him throughout the whole scene, and how he was hiding it like under a pillow, and then in the breaks would like smoke the vape and then put it back under the pillow and then smoke it. And at one point he was looking for it, like again, she's like naked and the scene cuts and they're, rumbling around in the sheets. And then at one point, he's like, where's my vape? I can't find my vape pen. And it was stuck in between her butt cheeks. And she was like all embarrassed. She was like, I'm sitting on it and it's literally between my cheeks. And they kind of laughed it off. But that shows you that even when the guy is filming a sex scene, he's got a vape pen in hand. So do I think he vapes while he has sex? 100%. So I think that
sold me. True. You sold me, Dax. I don't know. Sold me.
He's a huge fan because when they say that he listens to the music, well, a part of it was that he would listen to MGMT. And if you remember, he famously was videographed at like Coachella listening to MGMT while vaping, like just enjoying life, like, and it just makes it that much funnier and that much more plausible to me that is in fact reality.
Interesting. You sold me. I'm in on this rumor. Speaking of film sets, there is always the rumors about Tom Cruise, how you're not able to look him in the eye on sets. Here's the thing about that. I do think it's one of those things where when you're on set and you're dealing with some very big thespians, very big actors, they're preparing for a scene. So I think it's like a don't ask, don't tell thing that you just don't look him in the eye. You let them get ready for their scene. You don't want to you want to seem like you don't exist because these person's preparing for a scene. I had a buddy who worked on Lincoln, and he would tell me that he was told not to talk to the actors on the Lincoln set. And Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, Daniel Day-Lewis, I think, is a pretty well-known, he gets into characters. Like
he's in the character 24/7.
Yeah. When he was Lincoln, like he was Lincoln, and there was no pulling him out of that character while they filmed the movie.
Yeah, so, I mean, they basically told him, don't talk to Daniel Day-Lewis, and he didn't. And one day he was standing there, and Daniel Day-Lewis walked up to him and was like, hey, you think it's going to rain today? And he said he was like sort of like not in character. And he was like, yeah, I do think we're going to be able to get it in, and like talk to Daniel Day-Lewis. But he was like, said that you weren't supposed to, it was like a sort of like an unwritten rule of not to talk to the actor. And as far as Tom Cruise, I think it's just comes from the director. It's not really a Tom Cruise rule, but it comes from the director. But also, the director might get the notes from Tom Cruise because he needs to get into the scene.
I think there's a lot to be said about this, because it really comes down to you're preparing for a role, for a big scene. You're in your, like, I'm thinking about myself before I've filmed any television show, before I've done anything live or whatever. I'm going through it in my brain, right? The last thing that I want is someone to interrupt that train of thought, or so I don't feel as prepared when they say action or when it goes live or whatever. So I can imagine, that Tom has probably said to people, hey, before a scene, can we just like stay focused? Because for someone like him, you're constantly being hounded by everyone. Can I have an autograph? Can I get a photo? Great to meet you. Tell me about what it was like doing this movie. Like people try to shoot their shot in regards to getting that 5 seconds with Tom Cruise. I think probably the only thing comes down to is I don't want those 5 seconds to interrupt my next big moment on screen. Same with, Ellen. I knew this for a long time. I was told you couldn't look her at the eyes and backstage. And we've talked about this. She got very nervous before filming her show. It wasn't that she was being a bitch or a diva or anything like that. But before her show, the last thing she wanted was to be taken out of her head because someone needed an autograph. Let the woman film her show, think about all the things she needs to say, her jokes, or her timing, all of this. So just like, don't make eye contact, don't talk to her in the hallway before the show starts, because she needs that moment to herself. So I think it's probably very similar for Tom Cruise.
Dax, let's get to one last rumor.
By the way, let me say, Simon Pegg, who has worked with Tom Cruise on numerous Mission Impossible movies, he debunked it. He was like, you know what? Tom is actually way more down to earth than you would ever believe. He's got this persona of this biggest movie star on the planet. He goes, but so I always try to have to like when I go to approach him, it's weird. I see this movie star, but then he's normal in real life, and it's a weird juxtaposition. So he debunked that rumor. But I guess that's also another actor saying it. So do we believe it from an actor, or would I want to hear it from a grip? It would probably be a very different story.
Also, Scientologists, for the most part, Scientologists are usually pretty nice. Just from my experience, at least. Dax, let's get into one last rumor. And I think the rumor goes to the show Glee. And with Glee, there was so many rumors going on during the show. It's a successful show, but there's so many like little kind of stories coming from it. Some of them being disturbing. Obviously, the Leah Michelle story, where you heard rumors of her being a diva on the set and not being that warm or kind, and people weren't too like it. But there was also rumors between Diana Agron and the show's showrunner, producer, creator, Ryan Mitchell was his name. Was that his name?
No, Ryan. Oh my God, what is his name? He's like one of the biggest. What is his name?
It was.
Oh my God, what is his name? Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy. That was it. So, do you know anything regarding the stories between Diana Agron and Ryan Murphy?
Well, the big one, because if you remember, Glee was huge when TMZ was huge at the time too. That this story got a lot of heat that she was banned from appearing in the Corey Monteith tribute episode. And everyone was like, why would she be banned? And again, this rumor may have been a little more exciting years ago, but it was the biggest show on television. Corey's death was a huge blow. So for her to be banned from appearing on the tribute episode got a lot of people talking, a lot of people interested, because, it sounds like drama. I think she had basically come out later and saying, no, it's not true. I think there were so many false pieces of information out there. But she said she wasn't banned from that episode. It was more like back then they were having certain characters appear randomly throughout the season. Like you were taken off of being a regular character when the show got bigger and you just made appearances 3 episodes in the season. Then you'd come back the next season and make 2 more appearances. And she became one of those people. But I would say that a lot of people questioned if Ryan Murphy kind of shaded her by not allowing her to be in that huge episode where they were, remembering Corey Monteith.
Yeah, that was a big one going on. But I think the one rumor from that show was Lea Michele. People had issues with Lea Michele being a diva. And I think those rumors were true. I mean, a lot of people spoke about that. And yeah.
She's 100% a diva. Again, we like divas because they bring us entertainment.
They do. They do. All right. That is I feel like that's enough for today. Well, maybe I make this to a part 2 because there's like a few more that I want to get in with you, but maybe make this to a part 2. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you're listening, thank you. Thank you so much. And I thank you so much because I know you're going to leave a review. I know it. I know you're going to leave a review because you guys are very, very nice people. And when you do those reviews, we'll actually read them on air. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on it all. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. And we'll see you guys next week or maybe even Friday.
Later.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.